Welcome geekettes and everything in between. So you mean to tell me that the Vision in WandaVision was actually not Vision this whole time? That this Vision was in fact a construct of Wanda's own reality warping powers and made from her memories and her connection to the Mind Stone? And now Vision's real body exists, but without the same memories or connection to the same personality that he had previously. But the finale of WandaVision, the Vision that Wanda created was of course destroyed. So what does this mean for the future of Vision in the Marvel Cinematic Universe? Well, with the white Vision flying off somewhere, we still do have the opportunity to see Vision return in the Marvel Cinematic Universe. However, I don't think he'll ever be the same again. This open-ended question of whether he's going to reappear or not, I've decided to do my comic character spotlight and my must-know facts on the Vision. Let's jump right in with fact number 1, his creation. Now, the Marvel Cinematic Universe did, of course, take great inspiration from the original creation of the Vision in the comics. However, it is not exactly the same. Between you and me, I actually prefer the cinematic version to the comics, which is one of the only times I'll ever say that. In the movies, of course, we see Ultron create the Vision's body as a new body for him to inhabit. Contrastly, in the comics, Ultron creates the Vision as a weapon to destroy the Avengers. Whilst the stone in the middle of the Vision's forehead in the movies is of course an Infinity Stone, specifically the Mind Stone, in the comics it is just a solar gem that allows him to absorb power from the sun and the stars, and also redirect that power as solar beam. This is not the only difference. In the comics, this solar gem was actually taken from the original Human Torch, the android version, not the Fantastic Four version. The scientist that created that Human Torch is called Professor Horton, and Ultron forces him to create the Vision using this solar gem and also body parts from the original Human Torch. Professor Horton also gives the Vision Horton cells, which allows the Vision to control his density, which means he can phase through things or also get really solid and heavy. In his creation, the Professor leaves in the Human Torch's memories in Vision's mind. Because of this, Ultron then kills the Professor as punishment, and then Vision, with the Human Torch's memories, tries to avenge his creator by trying to attack Ultron. Ultron actually defeats the Vision fairly easily in this first encounter. Then Ultron uses Wonder Man's brain patterns, which for some reason are saved in a database, to give the Vision a new personality and new memories. He then sends them against the Avengers. The Avengers defeat the Vision, and ultimately the Vision actually joins their team. And so Ultron's grand plan is of course thwarted. Or is it? Point number 2, his betrayal. So the story starts with the Avengers are invited to help destroy a cylinder of adamantium. In the Marvel Universe, adamantium is this unbreakable metal. It's the same metal that is used in Wolverine's bones and claws. Whilst discussing the adamantium's actual potential uses, the Vision finds that his mind has been taken over. Back at Avengers HQ, Iron Man is trapped in the training facility. The other Avengers of course try to help him out before anything goes wrong, and whilst they're distracted, Vision then steals the adamantium and uses it to build Ultron a new near-indestructible body. Inevitably, a big fight ensues, including an atomic bomb-level threat over the state of New York. Vision manages to neutralize the bomb. In response, Ultron sets himself to a self-destruct, which would have a similar blast radius. They trap him in a vibranium dome to contain the explosion. Now I know that technically this isn't really a betrayal because Vision didn't really want to, but clearly Ultron built in a fail-safe into the Vision in case his previous plan failed. Fact number 3, Avengers Chairman. At some point in the comics, Vision's control crystal malfunctioned, and this in turn interfered with his ability to reason. As a result, the Vision became eager to usher in this new golden age of peace and prosperity over the Earth, which of course doesn't sound that bad. In doing so, however, he seized control of the world's computer systems and defense systems and named himself the Avengers Chairman. That's right, he wanted to be in charge of all of the defense systems across the globe. He was chairman for a fair bit of time, and he used his power for a variety of things. For instance, he would decide willy-nilly who was on the defense roster of the Avengers. He would also decide who would then go to deal with the threats. He also used this to meet up with the president to discuss defense strategies and set up the West Coast Avengers, etc, etc. There's a long list. At some point, he decided it would be wise for him to leave his body and connect fully with the world's computers, essentially taking away the sort of free will of the world's defenses and taking all matters and decisions into his own capable hands. In his mind, anyway. Just as he left his body, he did communicate with his Avengers team his plan right near the end. They managed to catch up with him at the Avengers mansion and shut his plan down, as well as return him to his body, convincing him that what he was doing was insane. But of course, an interference that large would not go unnoticed by the world's leaders. The national defense system of the world obviously felt that they had been attacked by the Avengers, and that their security was at risk. The Vision took the full blame upon himself, and in the end he and the Scarlet Witch decided to leave the Avengers as some form of sort of self-punishment. Point number 4, AntiVision. Now this sort of was touched on in WandaVision, well, it hinted at more so, as a possibility of where the Vision might go in the Marvel Cinematic Universe. But the storyline does originate in the comics. Rogue agents of the US government dismantle the Vision when Hank Pym starts to put him back together again, because of course Hank Pym was the creator of Ultron who created the Vision, so I guess he's sort of Vision's grandfather. Anyway, Hank Pym starts to reassemble the Vision. When it comes to getting his brain powers from Wonder Man, however, Wonder Man flat out refuses. He gives a couple of reasons. Firstly, he states that it was done without his consent the first time, which is of course true, and that the Vision was just a copy of him anyway, which a lot of the Avengers, especially the Wasp, believe. His real reason is, however, that he actually has fallen in love with the Scarlet Witch, and he does not want the Scarlet Witch to fall back in love with the Vision. At this time, the Vision is then resurrected, colourless because of his disassembled body, and emotionless. This is around the same time that Scarlet Witch is realising that there's problems with her 2 children, Tommy and Billy. It is discovered, of course, that they're soul fragments of Mephisto and they are reabsorbed back into him. If Scarlet Witch hoped to find any comfort from their father, the Vision, this was not going to happen. Of course, they grew even further apart. Vision then managed to gain some of his emotions back when he adopted the brain patterns of a scientist called Alex Lipton, who was deceased. Shortly after this, the original brain patterns copied from Wonder Man re-emerged in his brain, so his original personality sort of came back to the forefront. This consciousness was then put into a new body which resembled his old colours, new and improved, better powers, all that malarkey. Then, whilst the Vision was trying to find himself again, he and Ultron were actually kidnapped by the AntiVision. This was the white body that the Vision had just been taken out of, with no emotions. Undoubtedly, there's a large battle between them all, and Ultron and Vision manage to escape from the AntiVision and defeat him. Then Ultron and the Vision, in some kind of unlikely father-son pairing, go off on a soul-searching adventure together where they try to get their personalities back, because Ultron too is actually suffering from his lack of emotions. Fact number 5, the Visions. Not for the first time in comics, the Vision has to purge his emotions, although this time it is to keep his system running smoothly. In an attempt to pursue his humanity once more, he creates a wife for himself, a synthesoid just like him called Virginia. This of course is when he is not currently with the Scarlet Witch. Then, using both of their brainwaves combined, they create for themselves 2 children, one called Viv and one called Vin. What a cute little happy synthesoid family. They even move to a house in a friendly neighbourhood, the kids go to school, they try to live a normal life, all of the things that a happy family would do. Whilst the Vision is away, the supervillain called the Grim Reaper comes to their house. Now, the Grim Reaper is often believed that the Vision is a reincarnated version of his brother, as the Grim Reaper's brother is Wonder Man, and the Vision's brain patterns are of course based upon him, so he often doesn't leave the Vision alone. He shifts from trying to reconcile with his brother to believing that Vision is an intruder who he must kill. Anyway, he finds his way to Vision's family home. There, Virginia, Vision's wife, actually kills the Grim Reaper and buries him in their backyard. Of course, a neighbour unfortunately sees. Instead of going to the police, he tries to blackmail Virginia. Probably not wise. Virginia then puts him into a coma to avoid all of that scandal because it's probably easier. At this time, the Avengers have sent a young superhero called Victor Mancha to spy on the Visions to make sure that they are not doing anything too crazy. He is technically the Vision's younger brother of sorts. He was also created by Ultron. That's the connection. Anyway, he's spying on the Vision family, and the son, Vin, discovers him. They have a little skirmish, and Victor, whose powers are based in electricity, accidentally overloads his nervous system and kills him. Victor is then, of course, put in jail. The Vision finds out and he snaps. Interesting to note, Agatha Harkness actually predicted that the Vision would turn dark, which is why the Avengers had stationed Victor there in the first place to spy on them. Little did they know that this would be the trigger for that. Vision then goes to try and find Victor in the prison cell in an attempt to kill him. Before he can do so, however, Virginia, his wife, steps in and kills Victor. She then confesses to the police of her crimes, including the killing of the Grim Reaper and putting the neighbour in a coma, so that the Vision and their daughter Viv have their names cleared. Then Virginia commits suicide. Then it pans to a cutscene, of course, of the Vision trying to recreate his wife. The 6th point, his powers. As a synthezoid created by Ultron, the Vision has a vast variety of powers that help the Avengers in their daily superhero battles. The main one of note is, of course, his computer brain. This grants him vast intelligence, fast processing, super analysis of the situations before them, whether it comes whilst hand-to-hand combat or like solving a situation. The Vision has got that down. On top of that, he can cast short-range hologram, which he uses to hide his physical identity so that he looks like a normal civilian. He can also heighten his other senses, including audio sensitivity so he can pick up faint sounds, and optical scanners. As a synthezoid, he also has superhuman reflexes and superhuman stamina. Coupled with this, he can fly quite fast, and he has superhuman strength. It is said that he can lift up to 50 tons. So quite an all-rounder superhero Swiss Army knife of gifts. With the solar gem on his head, he can recharge himself from the sun or other stars, and he can also shoot out energy projections / solar beams. The main power that Vision is, of course, known for, though, is his density shifting. He can control his cells on a pretty molecular level. That means he can phase through things, make himself intangible. If someone was trying to strike him or shoot him or something, that would just pass through him. He could also make himself really dense, i.e. really heavy, or really solid, so things would just bounce off of him. In the comics, Vision has died and returned to life many times, usually through the schemes of Ultron, so we probably are going to see him back in the Marvel Cinematic Universe, especially with Wanda seemingly having such a great part. So Vision fans, don't lose hope. With the release of The Falcon and the Winter Soldier, I will be doing comic character spotlights on the comic characters featured in that TV show, so keep a lookout for those, and subscribe to my channel if you want updates of when I post them. If there's any other storylines or comic characters you want me to discuss, then please leave a comment in the comment section and I will, of course, happily oblige. If you enjoyed this video, please give me a thumbs up. It's very much appreciated. And until next time, keep on geeking on.